So far, we have looked at how we can create a database, create a table, alter our table, drop a table, and insert data into our table. And briefly, you would have seen the select statement, but in this lecture, we're going to be taking a deeper look at the select statement. So this is the general syntax for the select statement. So when we're selecting, we can select distinct columns, or we can select all columns, right? So you can list out all the columns that you want to select, and then you have the from clause, right? Then you have your where expression. Your where is used for filtering out your data. Then you can also group your data by using the group by clause. You can also do additional filter by using the having expression, right? You can order your data by a specific column in ascending or descending order. So the first example we're going to be looking at is selecting all the fields from a table. So to do this, you use a select clause. You specify an asterisk for all the tables from and the name of the table that you want to select. So you'd have seen this in the previous lecture. So let's highlight and hit run, and it returns all the data in the customer table. Now you're seeing more data because I had went ahead and inserted some additional records in the table, right? You'll have this insert statement attached to this lecture. So this will display all the data in the customer table. So if we do a select all from the car table, we'll see a list of cars, if any, in the car table, right? So let's specify the from. Now let's execute. And you can see that we do not have any data in the car table. Now typically you use your select asterisk or select all whenever you want to discover the fields that are in a table. However, it's bad practice to do this when you're writing reports. You only select the fields that you want to return in your queries. So here in the select statement, I am only displaying the first and last name from the customer table. So when I execute, you will not be seeing the other columns. This method can also be used to create views. Now views is another object. It's like a virtual table which sits on top of a table. So you can use it as a security mechanism because you may not want a person to have access to all the data within your table. So you create a view just to show the first and last name for that table. Again, in my more advanced course, you can learn more about these concepts, right? I could even do just the last name. So if I do a copy and paste, Ctrl V, I just want to show the last name, right? So I just specify the last name only, highlight, and hit run. Then it will just return the last name for the customer table. Now we have the ability to just display certain records within the table. To achieve this, we will use a where clause in our select statement, right? So if we wanted to see the customer's first name and last name, whose last name is equal to Jackson, then we can use a where clause to achieve this. So let's copy and paste the statement. So the statement will remain the same, right? Now we introduce the where clause. So this is used to filter out our data. So here you need to specify your column, right? So we're filtering on last name. And what is our criteria? Our criteria is Jackson. So if you look at the list of last name here, we have 1, 2, 3, about 4 Jackson in our database. So let's enter the last name here, highlight and execute, hit run. And you can see that we have 4 customers with the last name Jackson. You can also use operators like the greater than operator. So let me copy and paste this again. So if we wanted to see all the customers, the ID number greater than 5, replace the customer name with the customer ID. And for the criteria, it's going to be greater, and for the value, it's going to be 5, right? So when we execute this, we'll see only those customers with last name greater than 5. So let's include the customer ID in the result as well. So select, specify the customer name, comma, and let's re-execute. Let's run this. And you can see that all the customers with the customer ID greater than 5 is displayed. Now as you can see that we can have multiple customers with the same name. So how do we distinguish them? It is a customer ID which uniquely identifies them. So if we only wanted the result for a specific customer, then the best filter criteria is on the customer ID, right? And in this case, we'll change the operator from greater than to equal, and then you specify the customer ID. So I want to find the customer last first and last name where the ID is equal to 11. Which customer is that? Let's execute. And here we have the customer is Mary Steele. We can also utilize the AND operators in our query, right? So here I executed a select statement on the customer again, right? Now I want to display the list of customers where their last name is equal to Jackson and they have a customer ID greater than 7, right? So we are not expecting to see Marco and Stacy in the result set. So to achieve this, we will use the AND clause. So we're going to display the customers with last name Jackson and ID greater than 5, right? So I want you to think about the solution in your head, what your where clause is going to look like. So if you're thinking your customer ID equal 5 and last name is equal to Jackson, then you're correct. So when you execute this statement, you should only be seeing customers that match this criteria. So either equal here, so no customer match that criteria, but what we want is the customer ID greater than 5, not equal to 5. So these things do happen sometimes, guys. So let's execute again. You can see that we have two customers, Stacy and Marcus. So Stacy's customer number is 9 and Marcus's customer number is 12. We also have the OR operator, right? So in the AND, both criteria has to be true for the data set to be returned. Now in the OR operator, any one of the operators can be true for the data to be returned, right? So if we were supposed to say display list of customers with last name Jackson or ID greater than 5, then we'll be getting a different result set, right? So that means we'll be seeing the two other first Jacksons, right? And any other customer with their ID number greater than 5. So let's copy and paste this and make the modification to the where clause. So this time we're changing from AND to the OR operator. So let's execute the statement. So if you look at the dataset carefully, right, you'll notice that the 5 is missing from the result set. And you can see that we have all the Jacksons in the result set. So let's change the customer ID 10 so you can see the difference, right? So the result set will be smaller. Let's execute this. So these are the customers with ID numbers greater than 10. And the other criteria is where the last name is equal to Jackson. So these are the other customers with the ID number which is less than 10, but the last name is Jackson. So both criteria is true here. So let's say we had Mark as the last name. So even though we do not have a Mark in the database for a last name, we will still get some results, right? So in the OR operator, once one of the condition evaluated true, then you will get some results. Another popular operator is the IN operator, right? So it's pretty much the equivalent of a OR statement to an extent, right? Let's say we want to display a list of customers that have a last name of Dixon or Jackson. We can use the OR as well as we can use its equivalent operator, which is the IN operator. So to achieve this, we'll say select from customer. So first let's write select. I'm going to do select asterisk for now. From customer, we need a column that we're filtering on, and we're going to use the IN operator, right? And we're going to say IN. And for strings, they're going to be in quotation. And to separate the list of values, you specify a comma and then quotation, right? So it's going to be Jackson or Dixon. So let's execute this. And these are the customers who have a last name of Jackson or Dixon. So if we rewrite the same statement using the OR, we will get the same result. Now I want you to pay attention to something here. So if you're supposed to say last name equal Jackson or Jackson, this will not work. You have to use a field name each time. So you have to copy that. You have to compare the attribute or field name each time. So let's execute this and you'll see that we got the same result. So we can execute them together and you'll see the result set here. So guys, you also have the ability to sort your data using the order by clause, right? So you can sort data in ascending or descending order on any attribute within your table. So this is really easy to do, right? So we're going to be listing all the customer and ordering the results set by the last name in descending order. So we're going to have the order by clause and then you specify the column that you want to order by. So in this case, we're going to do last name and then you can say SC for ascending, or if you want it in descending order, you say DESC. So let's execute the statement and you'll see that the dataset is ordered by the customer's last name. We could also order by the DOB. So we're going to be displaying all the customers and ordering the results set by the date of birth, right? So it's very easy to do, guys. What I'm going to change here is the last name to DOB. Now let's execute. You can see it's ordered by the date of birth. So the oldest date of birth in this table is the 16th of April 2000 and the most recent is the 21st of November 2023. If you remove the DSC, the data will be ordered in ascending order by default. So let's execute. So you can see that the data was reordered. This may be a lot to digest in one lecture. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do a part 2 and continue in the next lecture.